like to welcome to questions from the crowd, Joseph Brazanetti, the CEO and co-founder of Sawce. Welcome, Joe.
Thank you, Tim. Thanks for having me.
You're doing a equity crowdfunding raise with On Market. What we do with questions from the crowd is take questions from potential On Market investors into this offer and put them to you, the CEO and co-founder. Why don't we start off just quickly with the problem that you've seen and the genesis for Sawce, what it is, what you do, and effectively just a bit of insight into how it's come about.
Yeah, sure. So Sawce.com.au is a marketplace, an online marketplace specifically dedicated to furnishing and fit-outs. And the idea was born from some key experiences and observations around the difficulties that consumers have in trying to furnish a particular space, whether it's a home or an office or a restaurant. And that's because the market is highly fragmented. So there's over 40,000 retailers and millions of products, but there's no central place for a buyer to go and find all those products and transact easily across retailers. So it's really that concept of trying to solve that difficulty, both with time and with extra cost involved when a person is trying to fit out a space, whether that's a home or an office or a commercial venue like a cafe or a restaurant.
So it's across commercial, industrial, and homewares in terms of what's on the platform. Yeah, okay.
Correct. Yeah. So the process is very, very similar. The size of those orders may differ, but the process is very similar. You start off generally with either a space you need to fit out, or you may have even an item you need. So it's that concept of, okay, I need to find something that suits my requirement, but there really isn't one central place to be able to do that. There's thousands and thousands of retailers and very, very good retailers. There's maybe a handful of bigger retailers, but there's thousands of smaller ones that you would not know about, and they wouldn't have any visibility. And so it's aggregating all of those into one central place for a buyer to be able to search, find, and buy across retailers. So we like to emphasise that point about being able to do things across retailers, not just dealing with one, large retailer.
And the size of the market you're working with, Joe, how big is that market in Australia for what you're targeting?
Yeah, in Australia alone, across furnishing and fit-outs, it's over $50 billion in sales annually.
Okay.
And there's over 2 million individuals and commercial businesses as well. And if you think about what drives that, it's people either moving into a new home or a new rental, or they're upgrading it looks like typically every 6 or 7 years there's a renovation going on, or they're adding pieces as they go along. And on the business side, the businesses support individuals, and so if it's like I said, a commercial venue, like a restaurant or cafe, they're always doing things, or there's new entrants, so they need to furnish and fit out spaces and so on with offices and etc.
One of the questions we had here from an on-market member was in and around your business model. Are you able to sort of give an insight into how you make money and how that works for your online platform?
Yep, yeah, absolutely. And this is something we may touch on further, but effectively we've developed and refined the business over a period, and we invested quite heavily in a proof of concept site, which we used to really understand both the buyers and the retailers. And so what we found out of all of that experience is those needs that we've articulated a bit earlier, and how we would try to help those businesses either from a buyer's perspective with one central place to source and find furnishings and fit outs, or in fact from a retailer's perspective to help them be able to get access to a large market and generate sales that way. So we've developed the business through a proof of concept site, and there's been close to, I think, $10 million expended to date to get to the point of knowledge and be ready to drive the growth of Sawce.
How's that pilot site been going? It's been successful. So that's effectively been you guys testing some of your assumptions and getting to, I guess, a final product like you have now with Sawce.
Correct.
Any learnings from the pilot sites for you?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And in fact, the whole exercise was to effectively, as we say, be a proof of concept, to prove out the idea, prove out and validate the assumptions. And it's been very, very successful. So we have, through that, generated 30,000 visits a month, which will all go directly into Sawce once we go live very, very shortly. There's over a couple of hundred retailers, and there's over 100,000 products, and all of that will be our starting point with Sawce, without us spending any money on advertising. That's where we're going to start.
Oh.
So it's been very successful from that perspective. And the key learnings as well, I would say, is how to understand to scale the business. So it's a technology-driven business. We scale it through technology, which means we can be frictionless as we grow the business. We'll grow to hundreds of thousands and then millions of products. There's over 40,000 retailers, which we would attract a very high percentage of those to be members. There's no upfront fees for retailers. It's all commission-based because we understand that's the way they would like to work. So there's a lot of key learnings that we've developed through the proof of concept site.
So the model is that the retailer pays you to have their products on your site, and the purchaser doesn't pay any commission to you guys.
So yeah, it's totally free for buyers, for consumers and commercial buyers, and it's effectively, there's no cost, there's no upfront fees for retailers. We've understood that from all of our discussions with them.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like traditional advertising models. A lot of the retailers, which are excellent, are smaller businesses. They don't have the deep pockets and the cash flows to speculate on advertising. And so what we understood from that is to have a commercial model, where we only charge retailers once they generate a sale. And that's quite a big step, because most businesses would look to charge other businesses for a service fee,
yeah.
Regardless of the outcome. So we take the opposite view. We effectively partner with those retailers. We help them get access to a large market of buyers, and we don't charge them upfront fees. We only receive a commission once they generate a sale. So we're very aligned with them.
Okay. Another question that's come in, which is sort of in what we're talking about at the moment, is in relation to inventory. Your business model, you able to just talk through, do you hold inventory, or is it effectively you're passing through the order from the customer to the retailer?
Look, that's a good question, an important question in terms of understanding our difference and how we operate our service. So we are a search and buy engine, is the best way to think of sawce.com.au. We aggregate all the retailers and all their products, but we empower them to transact with the buyers. So we're different from one large retailer that says, okay, you're actually transacting from us, regardless of how they might try to present it. You're actually transacting with that large retailer.
Mm-hmm.
They have the responsibility with the stock, even if they may hold it elsewhere. They have ultimate responsibility for the stock and for returns, damages, refunds. Ours is about empowering the retailers, and we aggregate those retailers. We don't hold the stock because we're not the retailer. We're a search and buy engine, and we allow the retailers to do all the great things that they're doing, but we aggregate it all into one really large, highly sophisticated search engine, which allows you to search, pinpoint things, and buy either an individual product or a whole furnishing fit out solution from across retailers. But the transactions go to the retailers, and the fulfillment is done by the retailers.
Yeah, it sounds like a win for the retailer, win for the customer, doesn't it?
That's right. That's right. And we keep our commission at what we think is a very balanced level, so that the retailers can be very successful and grow and thrive through Sawce, and the customers are not having any impost of cost. They just have an efficient, fast, comprehensive solution for furnishing and fit outs.
Fantastic. Quick question. Pathway to liquidity, always a question from on-market investors, because they don't want their money tied up too long, ideally, with early-stage companies. You're a co-founder. You've got a number of co-founders, all with I guess, excellent resumes in the entrepreneurial technology, or tech entrepreneurs, for another way of saying it. Can you just sort of run us through what the next 5 years holds, and a little bit of background on some of your co-founders?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've invested, as I said earlier, we've invested heavily in de-risking the business through the proof of concept site. The pilot that we ran was very successful, as we said earlier, and we've done that so that we can get to this point where we've invested to build the Sawce.com.au marketplace platform. It's wholly our own technology. We own it all. We can scale that in Australia. We can scale that internationally. In refining the business, we've specifically set out to make it a pure play technology business. It's not heavily dependent on people. It's really the technology, and so that gives us a really rapid scale up potential. And so this raise is to support that next step, which is to support the launch of Sawce. We have a clear path towards an IPO, which is our intended path in the next 2 to 3 years. Given that we've understood the market, we already have a couple hundred retailers on board, know how to operate with them commercially. We believe we know what the customers want by virtue of seeing 30,000 visits a month, and we can scale that. So we've got all those pieces in place, and it's now just a question of getting some more capital behind the business to drive that marketing and scale it up. And in terms of the team, you're right, we have a very strong team, both at the board level and a kind of executive level. So we've each of us has either built businesses directly from scratch multiple times. We've listed businesses on the IPO. We've been involved in large trade sales to multinationals. We're technology people. We've worked in Australia internationally. So I think we've got all of those skill sets that we need to grow this business and then potentially list that in the next 2 to 3 years.
Congratulations. That's it's a very interesting business. Just finally, I always end these interviews with one question. For an on-market investor, just quickly, the top 2 or 3 points as to why they should invest in Sawce.com.au.
Look, the main thing is, as I've sort of been saying, we've got a unique opportunity with this marketplace where there are no direct competitors. So we're a pure play online marketplace platform for furnishing and fit outs. No one is doing that. Our approach, our solution addresses the needs of the industry, both from the buyer's perspective and the retailer's perspective. You can furnish a complete space, whether it's a home or office or a commercial venue. You can select one individual item. You do that by being able to access all the products from retailers across Australia, so that you're getting access across retailers. It's not just one retailer. So the main thing is that we've understood all of that. We've built a specific technology platform to deal with that, both simple transactions and complex furnishing and fit outs. We've de-risked the business. We own all of our own IP, and we've got we believe, a direct line to an IPO in the next 2 to 3 years.
Okay, well, we're live, and we wish you a very successful raise on market with your record crowdfunding raise. And thank you for joining On Market's Questions from the Crowd.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.